I'm wondering, just a few short thoughts here, why people on the right don't seem to be as willing to organize as folks on the left. Like, Antifa, for example, is willing to show up, beat up old ladies, use their conveniently placed pallets of bricks to do untold amounts of property damage, firebomb federal buildings, do anything and everything in the name of their cause if they think it'll get them what they want. Folks on the right are barely willing to show up. I'm not saying now that we ought to be out, bombing folks' businesses and, burning crosses in people's yards and stuff like that. But it seems like the deck is stacked against the right when it comes to putting up a strong, united front. Say front, like take Patriot Front, for example. I don't think it started out as feds, federal agents, infiltrators, co-opting the organization just to make the right look like shit. But I do believe it's largely that now. I mean, they're so well organized, well funded. They've all got freaking uniforms, face masks, so you can't identify any of them. Got a nice professional website with real good, leading language. It's openly fascist. In the sense that fascism is the idea of blood and soil. America for the Americans. Germany for the German people. That sort of thing. And hinting that others should basically be second-class citizens. But, I just saw a picture that the left is championing as the right is just as bad as the left, where it's that young Ukrainian girl getting stabbed in the neck by the crazy black guy on the bottom. On the top, it's just some Patriot Front feds, what have you, standing there on the subway while the black girl looks uncomfortable. And there's the light. Folks are like, well, hey, look, the right's doing it too. They're just as bad, if not worse than us, those dirty fascists, even though obviously there's just no comparison. But I think that is probably the chief reason folks on the right don't organize. They're, number one, afraid of being labeled feds themselves by others on the right and thus destroying their own reputation, or legitimately afraid of getting an organization together, peacefully, just to fight for folks' rights, in the ballot box, in the courtroom, what have you, and actually being infiltrated by feds. But I think the way things are going, the proverbial valve is going to go busting off of the pressure cooker soon, at some point. It has to. Folks are just going to get fed up with all the deep state going on, the left being funded by U.S. aid, and just their institutional control, media control, Hollywood control, government control, World Bank control. Basically every aspect of our lives is controlled by the left in some way, shape, or form. We haven't won the culture war. They have still got an iron grip on things. We're winning the meme war. We're all over social media, posting our little memes, pwning the libs, destroying such and such social media influencer. Big deal. The wheels keep right on turning. No matter how many times you do that, at some point, folks are just going to have to get off of Twitter, get off of Facebook, get off of YouTube, get together, and, do what needs doing, is what I'm saying. I'm not going to say exactly what, but I think everybody's got a general idea. We're going to have to take back okay, well, I'm not saying violence, unless you're just don't have any choice in the matter and Antifa's right in your face or something. But yeah, like if Antifa is beating up an old lady, there needs to be some right-wing guys right there to, take care of business, is what I'm saying. There can't be any more of this crap going on. You're gonna have to meet them right face to face. You're gonna have to deal with some consequences. Yeah, you're probably gonna get arrested. But, what's the alternative? Just let them keep going, doing what they're doing? No. You're gonna have to get back control of the institutions however you can. You might just have to play the left's dirty games to do it. Discredit their professors, take them down, character assassination, basically, or whatever. Whatever has to be done to get them out of power. It's going to have to be done, because they're playing by a whole different rule book, is what I'm saying here. And our rule book right now isn't working. I'm not saying throw away all our principles, but most of these people, there's so much crap on them just floating around, easy enough to find that you won't have to betray your principles to assassinate their character. Their skeletons in their closet will do it for them. It's a question of just hoisting them by their own petard, basically. And that's true of, I think, just about everybody. The only thing I'm really concerned about in that approach is it only takes 3% of the population to really affect change like that. If they're all unified, organized on a scale like that, it's very likely the deep state's not just going to lay down for that. So there's going to be, most likely false flag operations, or they'll just straight throw away all pretense and start kicking in doors when they see their power starting to go away. That's a very real possibility. You have to be ready for that. But, you can't shy away from that. You can't shirk your principles. You can't shirk your duties as an American. You're going to have to get in there. Everyone is going to have to get in there and do the ugly stuff. If you know somebody who's like-minded, who's willing to do the same with you, get together, get more people, and get more people together. Now do that all over the country. Everyone who's listening to this, do it. What is it, like Batman said to Commissioner Gordon in Batman Begins? Gordon said to him, Batman, you're just one man, what can you do? And then Batman says, no, now we're two. That's what has to happen. You have to go, okay, now we're 2, now we're 4, now we're 8, now we're 256, now we're, 8,192, and on and on and on. That's what has to be done. It doesn't require any major organization with uniforms and Fed infiltration like Patriot Front. It just has to be a bunch of people deciding, we're going to get together, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take over this institution. We're going to take over this media empire. We're going to oust these journalists. We're going to oust these politicians. That's what's going to have to be done in order to take this country back. You got to get in there. You got to fight dirty if you have to. Because the left is certainly going to fight dirty. And if you're not willing to do the same, then you lose. It's like going to a boxing match and the guy in the other corner is bringing a machete. You're going to have something with you. That's what I'm saying. That's about it. Thank you.